where are the expectations for Trey Lance now? Like they're not. The bar is not. It's definitely not here, right? And yeah, the Colts, Bay Area. So there's large expectations for Trey Lance. They haven't declared him the starter. They've got the previous starter who sitting there, which they haven't done anything with, and like they're not even supporting him publicly.
Right. So let's talk about that. The expectations. How different are they compared to what?
I think there's been some talk on Twitter about, that you have to you just compare the quarterback position to the quarterback position, but I would argue it's different. I think in any walk of life, how much you're getting paid is relevant to the expectations and your responsibility. Like the responsibility and the expectations of a CEO should be vastly different than the average worker in a company, and that CEO gets compensated fairly for those expectations and responsibility on the same level. Like Jimmy Garoppolo was getting paid $25 million a year. I think it was the fifth highest cap hit last year in the NFL. I think it's fair to say that should come with a certain level of expectation on how you should play and what you should do for your team. And I think for the most part, fans agree that he didn't live up to those expectations. He didn't live up to what we expected him to play like for a $25 million quarterback. Trey Lance is going to be, I think, an $8 million cap hit next year. And he's also going to be in his second year in the league, right? Experience also count. You should.
That's the thing, real quick, because Jimmy Garoppolo fans are going to be like, well, you know what? If Trey Lance wants to take Jimmy's job, then Trey needs to be better than Jimmy. Until then, he's not ready. When it's like, dude, Jimmy's been in the league a long time. He had a lot of years to improve and show something, and he didn't do it. I think it's time to take the growing pains with Trey. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
but that's a big deal.
You can't compare. It's not an apples to apples situation.
I've heard people like, hey, 3 first-round picks on Trey. That's a lot of pressure too. That's like $27 million. Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. Still, He's 21. I mean, the whole idea is there's a chance he could improve. There's no chance Jimmy Garoppolo could improve. So why do you have to ratchet up the expectations for Lance? There's a bunch of people waiting to be like, hey, man, he had a bad practice in August. Shut him down. Not ready.
Right.
Interception one time. He's not ready.
And what's also hampering him now is that one of the major benefits, and it has nothing to do with his play on the field, is his contract. And the 49ers aren't taking advantage of that because of Jimmy Garoppolo. Because Jimmy Garoppolo's contract is still on the books. So it's almost like Trey Lance's contract is Jimmy Garoppolo's contract and more because they're paying 2 quarterbacks
right
now.
That's right. It's like they spent 3 first-round picks and $35 million on the quarterback position, and neither one seems to have their full trust. Like, how could you bungle that anymore?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he's going to walk into a team supposedly if he is the starter. He's going to probably. If they do release Jimmy, it's going to be late, so they're not going to have the advantage of really getting use of that $28 million or $25 million in cap space to make the roster better for Trey. And he's going to have the same expectations of Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he shouldn't, and while being in his second year in the league and his first year starting. And I don't think they're going to be fair expectations for him. Now he might exceed those expectations or play up to them, but I don't think it's fair to put those same exact expectations that you would have for a 9-10 year veteran on a 2-year your second year rookie quarterback. Be it he's the 3rd overall pick in the draft or like the 25th pick in the draft.
It's so silly that we're having this conversation. Like, the Niners should have played Trey Lance last year. I don't understand why they didn't understand this, but we explained it. Like, you gave up all this draft capital for a guy who played 1 year of college football. Like, that's a little radical. Plus, he didn't play at all in 2020. He played 1 game in 2020. And you thought the best way to prepare him to start was to sit him another year. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So he's now been on the bench for 2 years. He's been on ice for 2 years. He's still inexperienced. The best way to get him experience was to not play him. That's what you're telling me? Doesn't make sense. So now, like this year, that's going to happen right now, this year, right here, this year, right here, should have happened last year.
Yeah.
Should have freaking happened last year. It's like, oh, they accomplished so much last year. Did they? Second place in the NFC. Yes. You didn't even win your division. Like, there's no banner you could possibly hang from that year. Whoop-de-freaking-do. This should have happened last year.
Wouldn't you feel better about this team? Let me ask you a question. If they had even just missed out on the playoffs, but Trey Lance got better every week, and by the last 2-3 weeks, he was just shredding teams. Like, he looked like one of the best. He was the best player on your team.
Wouldn't have been good enough because a lot of people have been like, Jimmy Garoppolo would have went undefeated and won the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP. Jimmy would have done better. I'm telling you, it's going to happen all year. Oh, yeah. Trey Lance won. Jimmy would have won better.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I thought about this, Grant, with Jimmy is people say that Jimmy Garoppolo's best attribute is his leadership. He makes everybody better. Okay.
Yeah.
But then
he's the reason that Jordan Willis blocked that punt because Jordan Willis was inspired by Jimmy Garoppolo's leadership.
But then the same people will say, "Oh, the reason why they lost is because those guys didn't play well enough to."
Yeah, where was Jimmy's leadership on that one?
Right.
How come Jimmy's leadership didn't catch that interception?
Yeah,
Jaquan dropped. Jimmy's leadership should have caught that.
Yeah, Jimmy should have willed them to make all those plays. Like what? Like. But they don't say that. So if Jimmy's superpower is to make them better, then shouldn't you fault Jimmy for not making them better to win games?
How come Jimmy's leadership didn't play better defense in the NFC Championship game? Jimmy's leadership totally fell apart on defense. Usually it's good. Usually Jimmy's leadership is a lights out top 5 defense. But it just, I don't know. Was it out all night? Where was Jimmy's leadership when it was necessary? I don't know. Good question.
That's Grant, what I'm saying.
Grant said Debo is 5 players, so you can't trade him. I said 2 players. Well, if he gets hurt, then you just lost 5 players worth of production. If you pay Debo, you can't run him as much, which is what makes him what he is. I agree. But again, I really think that they played him at wide back because of Jimmy's limitations, not Debo's limitations. Just because Debo can do it doesn't mean he has to do it. And if they had a running back like Breece Hall or Raheem Mostert or anyone who's actually good, they wouldn't have to do that anymore. So, maybe that's Jermichael Hasty. But I know it's not Jeff Wilson Jr.
Or they might not even, Grant, they might not even need that, right? Because you just talk about Jimmy's limitations. What if even with the backs that they have, those backs just get more space because Trey Lance is able to stretch the field. And so there's just more space for those backs to run. And thus their production goes up. Opens it up for everybody else. You don't have to put Devo back there because there's more space. Mitchell and all of them could get the yards. Maybe Trey Sermon as well.
Yeah.
So it might not be necessarily the backs. It might be totally related to the quarterback.
Yep. Keith says we agree on this, Grant. Niners finally looked like they were going all in last year when they went conservative. Now not taking advantage of cap space. It's like they're like, well, look. We didn't play Trey Lance last year. We probably should have, but we didn't. We had our reasons. And so this year is his rookie year. And just chill. We're going to make a move next year. Like, dude, you just dragged Jimmy Garoppolo the NFC Championship game. There's no way Trey Lance can be worse. You have Debo now, Kittle now, go now. They're like, no. Kittle will be healthy when he's 30. Debo will be fine when he's 27. Don't worry. Like, okay.
I'm not saying this can happen, but if it did, like theoretically, if the Niners somehow managed to get a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, would you eat your words and be like, yeah, okay, guys, you did the right thing? Held on to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. But that's not going to happen in any universe. It's not
going to happen either.
Yeah, absolutely. I will eat crow. I will eat an actual crow. But it's not going to happen.
Right. Okay, so same applies, and they got a second. Is it worth?
I wouldn't eat a crow, but I would like eat something that I wasn't particularly fond of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Third round pick, you're not eating anything.
Like boneless chicken wings. I would have some.
Third round pick, you're not eating anything, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'll just have dinner that night.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I'm on the same page. So if you're holding out for a 3rd round pick.
Yeah. And they're gonna like celebrate if they get it. It's like, dude, you
Yeah.
should have got that 3rd round pick years ago.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Great. Sweet. You couldn't have got this before free agency? Nice. Anyway. Well, I think I'm out of things to talk about today. Did Debo tweet anything recently? I'm blocked. Slime.
He might chill. He might chill for a minute until the next wide receiver gets paid.
I feel like he's not getting himself more money, but maybe he is. I don't know with the social media stuff.
Probably not.
I heard through a source that the Niners would have given him $30 million had he not blocked me. But since he blocked me, that's the test. That's the test. That's what I heard. Multiple sources, 18 sources said that.
Yeah. Have you heard that he could walk that back by coming on your show?
I did hear that. 19 sources say that he'd be good if he came on the show. Late to the show, do you consider a Debo trade for one of the Jets' top 10 picks and maybe some late rounds, get a top corner and Gardner Stingley? I'm team give Debo Samuel $85 million per year. So I probably not, but I'm just saying I wouldn't trade him.
Would you trade him for both the Jets' first round?
Real quick, the reason the Jets are in the market, are like looking to trade all these picks for wide receivers, is because that guy's not in this draft. Jamar Chase, Debo Samuel, not in this draft. They're good ones, but I mean, if that guy was there, the Jets would be like, we're going to take that guy. So
the Jets also have a 2nd-year quarterback. They drafted a first round, 2nd overall quarterback last year.
You said he's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I did.
Look at you, coach.
They drafted him last year. He needs weapons. So, and what the established weapons, but the 49ers are in the same situation, right? Like,
that's the Ali G, established weapons. Sorry, I didn't do that good.
Yo, big up.
Yo. I was Ali G for Halloween in 2004. I had the whole get-up, the whole thing.
What's your favorite Ali G episode? Feminism? The feminism one? That one
yeah, that's a good one. Or the one where he does the ice cream glove with Donald Trump.
Yeah, the ice cream glove. Now here's a statistic.
Ali G, but Forrest, I don't know if you could do that anymore. But anyway, that was probably not. Anyway,
guys, if you don't know about Ali G, you can search him on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're younger than 30, you probably don't know about Ali G, but you know about Borat, so it's the same guy. It was the original. Borat was like a spin-off. Like the show was the Ali G show, and he would have little things where he was Borat and Bruno, which were also very funny. Was it 2? Were there 2 seasons? It wasn't a long show.
No, it wasn't.
20 years ago.
Didn't run that long. I forgot about it for
phenomenal. So that's back like when Jackass was out too. Great show, man. Bam Margera. I remember being in high school, in middle school, watching him beat up his parents, being like,
"What? How about Wild Boys?"
Remember? That was also good.
Yeah,
that was also good. But I mean, Jackass came out when I was in like 7th grade. Can you imagine? 13, being like, "Wow, you can just smack your parents in the face and get on TV? Wow, bam, it's amazing." I used to box in Las Vegas and respect you and your dad's opinion. I think you and your pop should do a segment where y'all talk about boxing. I couldn't keep up with my dad. He's been to all the fights that matter from like 1975 to 1998. But I try. I watched a lot of fights on YouTube. I've done that. Never been to an actual boxing match, so I'd like to do that.
Go for it.
Tom Green was the funniest show ever. I wasn't a big Tom Green fan. Wasn't a big Tom Green fan. Wasn't a big Conan O'Brien fan. Conan, I always felt that guy tried like 11 times too hard to be funny. That was just me.
I thought the best thing Conan did was he went the Triumph the Insult Comment Dog. You ever see
that guy was funny?
Yeah,
that was on Conan's show.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it on like Kazaa clips in 1999 where they were 2 minutes to get past. But I didn't know there was okay. Conan's totally redeemed for having Triumph the Comedy Dog.
Yeah.
What was his whole bit? Like that's a really nice something for me to poop on. Is that what he would say?
Yeah.
For me to poop on. Yeah.
And he would go to like I think there was a Star Wars movie out at that time or something, and he went to like the premiere, and then there's like people dressed up as like Darth Vader. He's like, Is that the button to call your mom to come pick you up?
Okay. Before we one last great show from my childhood, middle school, the Andy Milonakis show. You remember the Andy Milonakis show?
I do remember.
Okay. Because he started off on the Man Show, which has been canceled retroactively, but it was Jimmy Kimmel, Adam Carolla, and they would have this segment where they have Andy Milonakis, who was like 35. He just looked like he was 14, and he would go up and ask people really inappropriate questions on the street. That was hella funny. And then he had his own spin-off show that I thought was underrated, Andy Milonakis. I'm just saying.
Did you see? I think there's a fairly recent video of him, of Milonakis.
He must be 50.
Spitting bars.
Really? I'm not surprised. He used to have a pretty good Twitter account. I don't know what's up with Andy Milonakis.
Maybe he'll come on your show.